When she walks, her hips sway back and forth in an unintentional, sensual way. You look at her and see the curves of her thighs up to her hips. You can see her body, which looks good to you. You like her shape and aren't shy about letting it be known. You told her how her eyes captured you, that her titties were perfectly set on her chest for your liking, how the way her waist turned into her hips down to her ass and thighs did something to your member that no other woman could do. As you spoke these lovely words to her, your body moved closer to hers. When you reached out to place your hand on her hip, you were too busy looking at her thighs and asked to see the reluctance in her face. Most people would think, well, why didn't she just tell him to stop? But they don't know her history. In past situations, she tried to say no, even tried pushing previous people off of her, only to be beaten, held down, and have a towel placed over her mouth so no one would hear her screams. So because of past experiences, she was afraid to say no or don't, understandably. I wonder if, when you looked into those eyes you said captured you, whether you saw the gloss shield she had over her eyes to try and hide her tears, the jeans she wore that you saw as painted to fit her exquisite body perfectly, were only meant to hide all the cuts and bruises up and down those thighs, hips, and legs. That top she wore, the one that showed off her chest and some cleavage, it was serving its purpose as a stomach cover to cover up all those scars and a few open wounds. The bra which held up her titties, that you said were perfectly on her chest for you, was an uncomfortable necessity. I'm sure you're wondering, if she didn't want the attention, why wear anything showing off the cleavage she had? But you have to understand, her arms and chest were the only section of her body not cut, scarred, or bruised. Well, at least, they were nowhere near as badly scarred, bruised, and cut as the rest of her body. In her own way, she was proud of that. So she enjoyed showing off the pieces of her that were halfway decent looking. It never meant she was an exclusive buffet for you to grab and munch on as you pleased. So next time you see her walking, instead of doing those irritating catcalls or assuming her body is a free-for-all to everyone's hands, try simply asking how she's doing or how her day was. Pay attention to her eyes when she answers you. More than likely, her eyes will be wandering around to avoid yours. She may even look down in hopes that you'll just grab whatever you want and leave. Hell, that's what everyone else did to her. So she won't have any reason to think you do otherwise. We as people generally assume things about others when knowing nothing about them. So here's some of her story. What will you do with it? Do you even care? Were you at least halfway listening? I hope so, because once upon a time she was me.